This neighborhood has a lot of renters. It's at the end of the month, like on the 31st, which is today. There's always a lot of moving activity.
Nightmares creep while you and me repeat this bitter.
So originally the plan was to ride a bike home today. Obviously, it's no longer the plan. It's raining pretty hard. Came on pretty fast too. That sucks because that means if I want to get any exercise tonight, I have to do it either late at night or first thing in the morning. I don't really like either of those options. I am already soaked. Walked home my daughter. We weren't really prepared for the weather today, even though we knew it was coming. I only had one little umbrella, like an emergency one I had at the office that I could bring, and I used to cover her up, so I was thoroughly soaked. Changed all my clothes, have more appropriate shoes on now, and I'm off to pick up the dog. This neighborhood has a lot of renters. It's at the end of the month, like on the 31st, which is today. There's always a lot of moving activity. I have been living in our current place for, I think 8 years now. So we haven't had to do that move in a long time, which I am thoroughly glad about. I moved around quite a bit with my family growing up. We moved, I think, just about every year or so until I was in like maybe the 6th grade. I definitely dislike moving. The current place that I live in now is the place that I've lived in the longest in my entire life. And I hope to live there at least another 4 or 5 years. We'll see. But if you are moving into this neighborhood, here are some tips. Something to keep in mind is everything around here is street parking. And a lot of the smaller apartment buildings don't have driveways. But what you can do is you can see if the building that you're moving into has a loading zone or another area that you can load into. It probably won't. But what you can also do then is contact the local alderman. The local alderman in this ward, the 44th, is Tom Tunney, and see if you can get some no parking, restricted parking areas set up near your building. Most people don't think to do that. It makes your life a hell of a lot easier if you can. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to find some place on the street to double park your truck while you get it loaded or unloaded. And that could be a pain, especially if it's raining like it is today, or if it's unusually hot like it tends to be at the end of every month. But ultimately, when it comes to moving in Chicago or any city, I suppose, it's all about timing. One year my wife and I had particularly bad timing, and we ended up being homeless for about a day. And so we packed up all our stuff from one apartment, put it in the truck, and then had to sleep in the truck overnight. I think we parked it in Montrose Harbor and slept in the cab. And then the following morning we had to kill time until about noon or so, which is the earliest we can get into the next apartment. That's something you don't want to do. If you can, what you want to do is try and move in the middle of the month. The landlords will usually prorate your rent. So that way, if someone moves out at the end of the month, maybe that gives them 2 weeks to paint and clean the place before you move in. And then you can move in a little bit more leisurely. Now I know that's not going to work out for most people depending on when your current lease ends and what your current moving situation is. But if you can move mid-month, that's always the best. And we always try to move into places where there wasn't currently a renter in there. So unlike that one time where we had to be homeless for an evening, if you move into a place that doesn't currently have a renter in it, you're not waiting on someone else to turn over keys where you're not waiting for the landlord to hurry up and be able to get a crew of painters in there to paint the unit before you can move in. That makes things a lot easier. Now, sometimes you just can't help it and you gotta be homeless for a day. But it's very stressful to do things that way. Let's go. What are you doing? I really like the rain. When he was a puppy, the first couple of bad rains that we had, he got an ear infection every single time. And so I don't know if that's why he doesn't like it or if he's just that much of an apartment dog. But he really hates rain. It's gonna be a long walk.